Well, hello everybody, it's Chris, your YouTube daddy. What we're going to do today is we're going to try and fix a machine. So, here I am, and that doesn't sound good, does it? So, this machine started to alarm a couple of days ago, and I've not had time to fix it yet. So, what I thought I'd do is I'll have a go at fixing it, and I'll video record it while we're doing it. So what we need to do first is see what's wrong with it. So alarm 61 to 91, cash in meter. Okay, right, let's turn the alarm off now. Oh, the alarm will go off now. So what we do first is we go to our code book. There we go. MPU, which is the motherboard in there, and codes. So what we need to do now is find out, let me find the right code, and there it is, 61, nope, that's not the one. It's here somewhere. Might have gone past it. As you can see, what happens is when a machine faults out, it gives you a code meter, which tells you how to fix it or what the problem could be. So here it is. There it is. So cash in meter, bar crest number 91 and 61, and it's fatal. Oh dear. As a general rule, when it comes up with that, it means it's a motherboard problem. So it could be lots of different problems, but just to make sure it is the motherboard, what we'll do is I should just put the thing there for 1 second. I'll hold this up, and what we'll do is, if it is a motherboard problem, when I put the switch in, the door switch, if it's a motherboard problem, the red light should start flashing on the motherboard, telling me there's a motherboard problem. Yep, see that red light there? So that's telling me there's a problem with the communication from the motherboard to the machine. So what I've got to do then is replace that motherboard. So what we'll do is we'll take the motherboard off. So the first thing we need to do is obviously turn the power off, which is the power packet here. So that's it, all the power's off now, and then what I've got to do is disconnect the motherboard. So it's pull these cables out, now if you've never done this before and you've got to do this, what I would suggest you do is you take a photograph of where the wires go so you know where to put them back. Now I've changed quite a few motherboards before now, so I should be able to remember where the wires go. It's a bit difficult trying to pull the wires out while I'm holding the iPad. So I'm just going to put the iPad down for 1 second. And while I'm going to pull these last two cables, these last two wires out. There's one. Oh, and the other one's coming out now slowly. So you have to be very careful when you take them out, guys, because if you're not, you could sometimes pull the wires out. So I'm just going to get a screwdriver to lever it out slowly. Never pull it from the wires, because if you pull it from the wires, they say you couldn't end up pulling a lot of the wires out of the connection, and that's the last thing you want to do. Oh, nearly out. That's one, and the last one, and then it just unclips out. So I will take you with this. So this is the motherboard that I've just taken out. Now this motherboard is broken down into two parts. It's the motherboard, and this bit here, which I'm about to unclip, is the game card. So let me just put that there. Let's see if we can see it with the camera. Right, so I've just took the game card out. So there's the motherboard, which I'm going to be replacing, and there's the game card. So that's specific to this particular game. So these motherboards are generic, so they can be used on lots of different machines, but that game card is specific to that game, so I need to transfer it across. So what we need to do now is simply, now if you look here, there's a load of DIN switches. Let's just clean the camera. Right, there's a load of DIN switches there, and there's a load of DIN switches on the other motherboard. So what I need to do is I need to make sure them DIN switches are what it should be, and I need to make sure the other one is exactly the same. So the bottom one is that way. The next one is that way, I think. No, wrong way back. Yep, not that way, that way. That way. That way. I'm just trying to see it with the light here. So it's up, down, up, down, up, down all the way. To make life easier. Up, down, up, down, up, down, down. So we'll just double check it. So that's the old board. And that's the new board. Okay, now what these do, these control caching, different things about the game. So if it's automatic payout, if it's hold credit, stuff like that. So I need to make sure they're exactly the same. So the first thing I've done is I've changed the DIN switches so they're exactly the same. Now what I need to do is put the game card into that, which is dead simple. The game card just clips straight in. So that's my replacement motherboard there. So there's the old one, and there's the new one. We've changed the DIN switches, so that's the old one, and that's the new one, and they all look right to me. So we're now going to put this into the machine, and let's see if it works. So I'm just going to put the iPad on here, and you won't be able to see a lot, but you'll be able to hear me talking anyway. And I'm just going to clip it in. It won't take long, so it just clips in. So I'll clip it in first. So I've clipped it into there, which is nice and simple. And then all I need to do is put the wires back in where they came out. There's one, there's two. Now depending on the game is depending what wires are on it. Some have got more in, some have got less in. So that one goes there. he says hopefully. Yeah, that one goes in there. There should be one here. I'm looking for another one here. That should be payout. Okay, that one's there. I've got one more here, which goes there, and then I've got one at the bottom there, which is a communications port, which basically tells it all what to do. Right, so that's now all in place. So as I've said, guys, if you've not done this before and you need to do it on a machine, it's always a good idea to take a photograph. Now, I've taken these boards out many a time, so they should be in the right place. So we're going to turn it back on and see what's happening. First of all, we'll see if it starts up on test mode. That started up all right there. Now we're going to press the button to see if it actually operates the machine without going into fatal mode. Hey, look at that, it's working. There we go. So that was a quick fix. It was basically the motherboard. So all I did was replace the motherboard. But what we'll do is, just to make sure it's all working properly, is I'll shut the machine up. So I'm going to lock the machine up now, guys, and then I'm going to put a coin in and make sure it works. So it looks like it's working at the moment, but there's only one way to actually make sure it works, is by putting a coin in and playing it. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Right, let me just go back inside. It looks like the mechanism isn't in properly. I may have knocked it while I was in there. So I'll just have a quick look at where the mech is. As I thought, the mech's not up properly. So what had happened while I was in here, that's the mechanism where the coin goes into, and it had slipped here. So I've just put it back in position now. So that should now accept the coin. He says, hopefully. So we close it back up again. It's just reached 24 volts. Oh dear, that's given me another fault. Okay, so we need to go back into the motherboard and have a look at it. Okay, if we look at the motherboard that I've just put in, right. Looks like I've just put in a dodgy motherboard. Can you see them lights there? You see that light that's off there? That's showing me that's a 24 volt light. So to start with, just below it there's a fuse. I want to make sure that the fuse hasn't gone. No, it's not that fuse. No, the fuse is up. Make sure we got it looks like we may have a faulty spare motherboard. So this will be part one of two videos. So the first part was to try and replace the motherboard. I put the motherboard in, but it looks like I've put a faulty motherboard in because that 24 volt is down on that motherboard. So I will do part 2 and we'll see if we can put another motherboard in and see if that is the problem. So wait for part 2. See you in a bit, guys.